I told him to blend this one a little bit rough because I wanted this particular pail, this batch, to have some texture. The first pail was totally smooth, but this one had some texture, so you can blend it according to your taste. It's tomato.
Then I put tomato.
Okay. It's tomato.
Mother, I find a knife inside your room.
Oh, okay.
I'm able to cut something.
Oh, you're ready to cut something. What do you want to cut? Should I give you carrot to cut? Okay, take this carrot. Let's see if you can cut it. Take it to your kitchen. You want carrot? Okay. Take your own carrot. Mr. Mozu, thank you. It's tomato.
What is it?
It's tomato.
What tomato?
Tomato. Okay, love. Take care.
What tomato?
Thank you. Love you. God be with you.
What tomato?
It's tomato, yes.
What tomato?
It's tomato.
What tomato?
It's tomato. It's okay. It's tomato. This is the biggest pot I have and the medium size, and I usually do it several times. But if you have a very large pot, you can use it and put it on firewood if possible, or if your gas can handle it, and just do it all at once, okay? But I usually do mine in batches, in about 2 batches overall. It boils down, then I keep adding, it keeps boiling down, I keep adding until I'm done. So this is the UTC tomato. It's usually sweeter and with less fluid, and this is the normal type of tomato. It has a lot of fluid in it, so when it boils down, it boils really down. So just so you know, so that you can know which type to get. So now we are going to allow the tomatoes to boil, okay? We're going to just allow it to boil down, and we'll keep adding to it. As it boils down, we'll be adding to it, okay, until it gets to the thickness that you want. For now, there's still too much moisture. Of course, you can preserve it this way once it stops boiling, but then you will need a lot of pails, a lot of jars, and I don't have the space or the logistics for that. So I'm going to allow them to really boil down so that they will occupy less space, and that way when you want to use it, by the time you bring out one jar, you'll be able to use it for a long time. You take from it, you put the rest in the fridge, and that is how you go about it. So we'll just let this boil down now. So this is the textured one, as you can see. You see, it is the textured one. So this is really awesome, depending on if you like your stew to have a little body to it, you know. These are my jars. Immediately I finish using them, I wash them and store them, because if you leave them on your kitchen counter or where you easily get access to them, they can crack, okay? And there are children in the house even. So in order not to lose your jars, whenever you finish, just wash them, dry them, and store them immediately. Once your tomato starts boiling, it's time to prep your bottles. So I use the oven method. Just make sure the temperature are always the same. I put my cold jars in a cold oven before I turn on the oven. You can also boil it, but since my jars are caps are plastic, I boil the caps, okay? You also need to boil whatever utensils you'll be using to pour into it. So we are going to allow this to boil down now. You can use any kind of oil. This is the oil I use to cook, sunflower oil. Any kind of oil you use to cook, that is what you will use, because after all, the oil on top of the tomato will be the first to go into your pot. So make sure the oil has not been used to fry plantain, okay? So use fresh oil to seal your tomatoes in order to preserve the integrity of the tomatoes. So my jars are heating up in the oven, and they are ready to use. So make sure you put them on the oven tray, not on the net, okay? That's if you want to bring them out all at once. Put them in the oven tray, not on the net, because on the net they can shake and fall, and believe me, you don't want to deal with hot glass. It will be a total disaster. So put them on something secure. But or otherwise, if you don't want to handle all of them all at once, you can use your tongue to bring them out one after the other. Okay, so just be careful how you handle hot glass jars. So you use your tongue, and when you're using your tongue, this is how to use it. You pick them up from the oven, hold them horizontally, because no matter how secure your tongue is or how strong your hand is, you will never be able to predict an accident. So if you hold them straight, they might slip and then they might fall. But there are some jar holders that you can use if you have them. I don't have a jar holder, so I use my tongue. I hold it horizontally, then drop it wherever I want to drop it. Okay, please be careful with hot jars. Or you can use your oven mittens, 2 of them, and hold with both hands. And make sure children are not around you, please, when you're handling glass. They can bump into you. Anything can happen when you're handling glass jars, hot glass jars. Keep the children out of the kitchen if possible. And then I just like to remove the caps from the water so that they will drain. The moisture on it might not do much, but I just like it to drain out before I use it, and also so that it can be cool enough to handle when I want to close the jars. So I usually do this before I fill the jars, because once I fill them up, I like to work very quickly. I don't like leaving them open for extended periods of time. So these are the pastes. You see how thick it is? You can make it less thick, like the one in the big pot is less thick, but this is very, very thick. So depending on the texture you want, allow it to boil down to the texture you want, and then you can go ahead and fill it into your jars. So I did some peppers too. That's the one in the other smaller pot in that corner that you're sighting. So this is how I put them. First of all, I've sterilized this cup. This is just one of my measuring cups. It's small enough to be able to bend. So you need something you can bend to fit into the mouth. If you have a big funnel with a big mouth, then you can use it, but I don't have that kind of funnel. So make sure you sterilize that container too. And then I just put it up to the neck, and then I fill in the oil. You can see the level. Then I fill the oil up to around the cap area. Okay, so this oil is the final or second to the last step to ensure that your tomato paste will last for a very, very, very long time. And then after that, cover immediately. Of course, be careful, the glass will still be hot, the jars will still be hot. And then I just use the same pot. Like I said, I don't have a very big pot, so you don't need to wash the pot thoroughly right now. So I just rinse it and put some water, and that's for the last sterilization process. You just put some water, let it not swallow the jars. Okay, maybe the water should be half the level of half the jars. Okay, and so after you cover well, make sure you cap it very, very tightly. Use a towel to hold the jars, or a glove to hold the jars, and then cover it very tightly, or else your sterilization will not work. So make sure the caps are tightly on the jars. Okay, and then after that, all you need to do is just to boil for another 30 minutes in the same principle. Okay, make sure the jars are warm when you're putting it on the fire. If the water is warm, if the jars have cooled down, maybe you could not sterilize it on the same day and you want to do it, or vacuum seal rather, not sterilize, you want to vacuum seal the next day, you know the jars would have been completely cool. So make sure you put them in cold water before you put on the fire, because if you put cold jars in hot water, it will crack. All your work done will be zero. Okay, and if the jars are still very, very hot, make sure you put them in tepid water. Okay, let it not be cold water. Put them in tepid water. That means put a little warm water in the pot you're using to vacuum seal. Okay, I don't have a vacuum seal. This is the local method I use, and it has been working for me since I got married. 7 years now I have been doing this, and it is extremely effective. So This year I'm making more paste than last year. Last year I used my last jar to prepare my Christmas meal. So upper year it finished around August because I gifted out a lot of it, and I also had a lot of events. I had birthdays, I had friends over, so it didn't really last me much. So this year I'm going to make more than I did last year so that it can last me for more than a year. And of course, I kept some for chewing and for salads. So keep your tomatoes upside down on the kitchen counter if you want them to last for about a week. They will not get bad. So I selected the strong ones and I just kept. Unfortunately, we had a little accident. So one of the jars hit the pot when I was bringing it out and it cracked. So I can't store this anymore. I have to just either rejar it or use it immediately. Yeah, because gradually all the fluid in it will leak out and it will just be a mess. And at the end of the day, the tomato in it might not be usable. So the fluids, the oil will just leak out. So be careful when you're handling your jars. Make sure they don't hit against each other or else they will crack. So immediately they cool down completely, about a day. Or if you're in a hot weather, they might take like 2 days to be sure they are completely cool. Store immediately, okay? So I usually store mine in boxes and just keep it at the corner of my pantry. So in order to avoid any accidents, or else all your work would just be wasted if any of them fall down and crack. So these are not going to be used for now. That's why I store them up so securely until when the tomato season is out and tomatoes start getting very expensive. Then I'm going to bust them out and start using them. So I hope you learned something. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel. We discuss everything elegant lifestyle. Okay, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and I really appreciate you. Share this video with someone who needs it. So I'm already on to the other batch, waiting for it to boil down.
Mommy.
So this is the rest of it.
Mommy.
We're done for this
Mommy.
batch, and I was able to get 24 jars. And then by next week, I'll still go to the market if the price is still the same, or maybe even less. I'm still going to get another basket. Okay, so Remember to exude elegance in everything that you do because you are the light of the world. So shine your light everywhere you are in everything that you do. Stay blessed.